It has to be said, of course, that Meghan Markle, alongside her husband, the former royal known as the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, have done many things to, well, rip the royal family apart with their outlandish claims of royal racism to every single thing that they come out with. It just literally is one of those points, isn't it? And of course, for many years, people decided to accept their word, even though people were fired for disagreeing with them, like the Breakfast TV show host, and of course, her being called out as a flagrant liar by the Archbishop of Canterbury. Apparently, everything she said was her truth. I wonder now, and I wonder if you feel this, here at our channel, our chums, whether Oprah Winfrey actually does regret now sitting down with them, because clearly that was a whole tissue of lies, 17 lies to count in that interview, allegedly. And you think, well, wouldn't you have checked those, Oprah? But no, too busy banking the buck and, of course, realising that she gets a worldwide audience. Narcissism always wins out, right? So it's thrilling to learn these particular stories, because a colleague of mine who was recently working alongside the former First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump, who has her own book out, well, apparently, Melania is literally a lovely, lovely lady. I always thought that, actually. Briefly met her and I thought she was a nice lady. Very much in awe of Her Majesty the Queen. And apparently behind the scenes, she said, obviously there were certain things she didn't want to say on camera, but she said what she admired about the Queen was this. She said that when, they were at Windsor Castle, she could see that she was in pain and, a little bit sort of delicate on her feet. And she said, would you like a chair? Shall we have a moment to sit down? And apparently the Queen said, oh, no. You have to keep going regardless. She said, no, the public expects. And, Melania said she wanted to almost fill up, because she said she could see she was in great pain, but she had to continue. It was sort of drilled into her that this was her duty. And she said it was just an amazing thing to meet someone at that age and realise that whatever you're feeling, whether you've got your shoes are killing you or whatever, you just keep going. And she said she was a wonderful woman who she will never forget, not just because she was the Queen, but she said the way she treated people. It was just kindness. You could feel it coming out of her. And the Duke of Edinburgh, Melania said, was just a wonderful person, off camera, very funny, little bit colourful language, he said, but nonetheless very amusing, making her feel very comfortable and very welcome. She said, because normally, when you are like the First Lady and perhaps not, it's not your first language, you're kind of shoved to one side. She said, no, included in literally everything. And this is the problem, you see, for Meghan Markle, because now another esteemed actress has come out and talked about her time of meeting our wonderful late monarch. We're talking about Angelina Jolie, who's now back on big screens early next year, portraying another legendary icon, the opera star Maria Callas, in a movie called Maria, getting rave reviews already and Oscar buzz about it. But what was fascinating in this particular interview was the fact that Angelina spoke about meeting Her Majesty the Queen and how, she'd practice her curtsy because she was just so nervous about getting it wrong. And she said she wondered about whether to wear flat shoes or high shoes, would she topple over? I just love all the things that you girls have to go through that men don't have to worry about, We just put on a pair of shoes and off we trot, And that's the thing. She said she was just so kind, so sweet, so down to earth. And she said, the stories that she's read, literally insinuating about who, well, she said, it's impossible. How can somebody be totally different people? And this is really now one of the biggest problems. Forget the Hollywood Reporter and the backlash about the Diva Duchess and the Demon Boss. It's people like this, people that are respected, women in their own right that have achieved a lot, who are speaking out, not through force, but just through the sheer fact that they were lucky enough to meet the longest reigning monarch, Queen Elizabeth. Think about it. I'm sure she would be thrilled to know that these people still hold her in the highest esteem. Isn't it a shame members of her own family couldn't have done the same thing? I'm sure you'll agree. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.